The National Disaster Management Organization has been leading today a mock exercise in 3 regions, and they're doing so to test the readiness of security services' response to election-related violence for the December 7th polls. Now, this simulation exercise is currently ongoing in the Ashanti region, the Northern region, and here in the Greater Accra region. They're doing this to ensure there's a collaboration also between security agencies that can avoid chaos and confusion when we go out to vote. Here in the Greater Accra region, the NADMO set up a polling station at Ayawaso West Wagon constituency, another one at the Tema West constituency. Of course, these areas have been identified as flashpoints. And Manuel Kranting was out there at the Ayawaso West Wagon. He will join me, but Kwesi Parker Wilson was at the command center. Parker, so tell us, Parker joins me in the studio, by the way. Parker, tell us, what do we mean when we say a command center as far as this simulation exercise is concerned? Okay, so that is actually the operational center where they pick information from the ground and quickly deploy men to wherever the issue is to quickly avert the confusion. So you mentioned Ayawaso West Wagon, for example. There's a scenario where they talked about some people rampaging basically because the police had fired a warning shot and had injured one person. A situation like this, one of the personnel on the ground at Ayawaso West Wagon called in at the command center where we had all the security couples there, the Ghana Armed Forces, the Ghana Police Service, Fire Service, Immigration, all of them gathered around the table, listening to the information that's coming in. So quickly, the Ghana Police Service boss coupled there said that since they had caused the problem, I mean the police shot, the policemen there should evacuate and quickly call in the military to come and contain the situation. The military couple there also made us aware that they had already deployed men at the district assembly. So they also called their personnel at the district assembly to move to the Ayawaso West Wagon where there was a problem to contain the situation. So these are some of the things that went on at the command center. You see, again, they made a scenario at the, in fact, I want to read for you some of the scenarios they dealt with. Okay. If you go to the Ningo Prampram constituency, for example, the scenario is that at a Hiam polling station in the Ningo Prampram constituency, 7 voters with high temperature suspected to be COVID-19 positive cases have been denied the right to vote. This has created some commotion as they have refused to leave the center. Other voters and polling agents have expressed concern about the likelihood of infecting other people. One of the suspected person begins to strip naked as she threatened to infect people if forced to leave. That's an interesting scenario. That's an interesting scenario. Interesting scenario that we go from there. Right. So quickly, the police couple indicated to us that there is a COVID team, police COVID team on standby, and that they are calling them to quickly move in to the polling station. The ambulance rep indicated that, I mean, they are also there and they're ready to convey the suspected individuals to an isolation center. Then immigration came in to say that, well, they are also going in to do contact tracing to find out who and who have been in contact with these suspected individuals so that, I mean, they can quickly curb the situation. So these are some of the things that are going on in the command center. And it was quite an interesting, you know, spectacle. It is. And Parker, I tell you what, I've been involved in a similar simulation exercise at the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, where they put together these different heads of security agencies and see how they can work together. And I see, and I want you to give us a mental picture of how it panned out today. How were the agencies, and it was necessary, this training, because at the June 3 disaster, they realized that there wasn't enough collaboration among the security agencies, which ended up losing us some lives. So give us a mental picture. How did it play out? Were the security agencies able to coordinate among themselves smoothly? From the beginning, there was a bit of a challenge where the security couples struggled with who should move in first and who should stay and all of that. Because each security agency has its own head, its own commander. And then they are dealing with their personnel on the ground differently. So they established that going forward, they need to set up an incident command center where they'll have the security couples at that end, and then they will be coordinating right from the ground. So all the information that are coming in will get to them, and they will coordinate with their men. They'll first of all decide what to do before, if they have to deploy the police, the Ghana forces or the ambulance service, before they can call in their men to go in there. So now they're going to set up an incident command center where they're going to coordinate
all these information that are coming from the ground during the election day.
An incident command center came up because they realized there was a particular loophole when they did this.
With the communication, exactly.
When they did this particular simulation exercise. So this simulation exercise has been good for, if not for anything at all, one thing. That there will be a loophole, there will be a gap in the coordination among the commanders if anything like this.
Something, a platform.
So it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. I mean, for some of the security couples I spoke to, in fact, the Ghana Police Service, the immigration as well. We're like, well, it's a good thing now. They know what to do when they have issues. And again, it came up that some of the agencies do not have some equipment, and so now they are also going to make sure that they get them fully equipped for the election. So these
Speak to these visuals for me, Parker. Is this part of what happened today? Right.
So this visual, I'm told, came from the Ayawaso West Wagon constituency. Okay. And so we received a call from the ground, a personnel on the ground, to the command center.
Okay, so this is Ayawaso West Wagon.
This is Ayawaso West Wagon.
Manuel Quantin was there.
This is Jolu.
Okay.
No, Abelimpe GHS. Okay. This is where the police
Manuel Quantin will be joining us to speak over these visuals for us. So let me wrap up with you, Parker. Like I said, you indicated that one of the things they're doing is to make sure that if the police is found culpable of creating any sort of chaotic situation, that they will be completely evacuated, and then they'll bring in the military.
Will take over.
Right. That's it's instructive to also note that in any such situation, in a situation of chaos, one of the things they taught us at the Ghana Armed Forces Command, Ghana Armed Forces Command College was that the police in charge, the police commander in charge, still remains in charge if there is a situation like this and you have to call in the military. So it's interesting that they will evacuate the entire police force.
Yeah, because the explanation was that people will get agitated or be upset.
Yeah, with the police.
With the police.
So the police,
and the likelihood of attacking them is very high.
Very high.
So it's better to safeguard the life of the police officers who are present there, take them out, bring in the military to contain the situation. With that, at least they'll give them the respect that, okay, they are not the ones who caused the chaos, but rather the different set of security personnel who are on the ground.
Precisely. And Parker, thank you so much. You've broken it down so well for us. Very interesting scenario they create there, by the way. A woman going naked, threatening to go naked,
because
and who has
being prevented
coronavirus.
from voting because she's contacted coronavirus.
Okay, that's a very interesting. Did they name it? Did they give it a name? Usually they give the simulation.
No, not yet. They said they'll do another one that will give the code name. So we are waiting for them when they call us to come and report.
It's an interesting, but it's not just interesting. It is meant for the security agencies to learn and to be able to realize the loopholes that will be that are maybe inevitable in the course. That may be inevitable in the course of their duty, and how they can actually deal with those loopholes. Now, as Parker puts it, could be a gap in terms of coordination, and it looks like they've learned a good lesson there, and they have learned how to deal with it as well. You just saw those videos there. My colleague in there, Emmanuel Quantin, is here in the studio to speak over the visuals for me. So, Emmanuel, tell us, what are we seeing? What is happening right now?
So, you are seeing a man being put into the ambulance in a stretcher. This is the aftermath of attack. So this particular scenario was simulated such that, some armed gunmen came to the polling center, attempted to steal the ballot paper, the ballot boxes. And so the police of a security on guard at the polling center called for reinforcement and backup. And that's how you got a joint team of the police and then the military deployed to the scene to try to intercept the incident. And that's what you're having. So this lady, for instance, got shot in the leg, and so she's unable to move, and so she has to be carried into the bent ties. But it was generally a simulation of the processes that you'd see typically at a polling center, from when the ballot papers are being distributed to when the very first ballot is cast until
an incident pops up, and then the security agencies are called to come in. How did they work, the police and the military? I was asking Parker about the coordination that existed. How did they work? Can you give us a mental picture of that?
So, I mean, they have walkie-talkies, if you like, talkbacks that they use. And so that's how they communicate. But essentially, you're seeing people trying to round up and circle up the perpetrators, try to keep them in a circle whilst arresting them. So while the military, some of the military folks are getting onto the perpetrators themselves, they're seeing the police try to keep the electorate at the polling center in safety. So they are moving and controlling the crowd there into a place that you say is less dangerous given the circumstances.
Let me bring you your personal experience in. You are a reporter, and this simulation, I mean, whatever happens on election day, there will be reporters there. Walk us through how it was for you reporting on such an incident.
Definitely. Well, I also was gone by election, for instance, in 2019. I happened to have been in a studio, so I wasn't on the field, but the picture they give me is almost something that I saw today on the field in that simulation. So you're having people brandishing guns with the police trying to combat them in the same instant. And so generally, you know, it's not a matter of joke at all. I really thank God that it was just a simulation.
I know, right? I know. But did you get the sense that reporters who were present there were able to, they were able to do good on the feet thinking and calculation as to how they can report this safely, because that has also become a very key point, how reporters can work safely. Did you get the sense that not just you, but the other reporters that were there were able to operate, safely?
So in the debriefing after the simulation, these are some of the things that popped up. So, of course, the journalists who were deployed to the place were told that it's a simulation exercise. So most of them are standing and, thinking
watching it happen.
And trying to get the best angles to the story. But generally, and if you follow the visuals that we'll play later to you.
Yeah, we can put some of the visuals up.
You'd see me trying to, first of all, find a place that I think is safe enough. Then I could do my reporting. So in the middle of all those, you're trying to put commentary on the pictures and also finding a place that is safe enough for you. And I think that this simulation exercise, has taught reporters what to be doing. And one thing that the police officer in charge, DSP Asiedu, at the debriefing said that this has revealed that there's some bit of disconnect in terms of the communication between or among the men on the ground. So people are moving in singles instead of moving in teams and so on and so forth. Generally, you'll see later the pictures that will show you.
Great stuff. So like you heard, Kwesi Parker-Wilson reported on what they found was the loophole with this simulation exercise, how they're going to bridge that. And Manuel here is also reporting on what they found at the debriefing, that what the security agencies found as a loophole. So great exercise there to, bring out all the things that need to be addressed before we get to the real deal. But it's been interesting. One more thing that we need to do. Manuel is trying to tell me something.
So, the MC of the area, Madame Sandra Henkra, was there, and she's assuring the public, as it were, of attempt by the municipality in conjunction, if you like, with the main political actors within the constituency. She mentions that at MUSEC, there's a municipal security council. They had a meeting, give each of the aspirant, if you like, the candidates, the NPP, the NDC, and any other one that will pop up, guidelines on how to operate in the few days that are leading to the election. And she's been answering quite strongly to allegations of accusations that the office of the MCE is in the camp of the incumbent MP working against the NDC's parliamentary candidate, John Dumelo. She says that nothing of the sort is in the happening. And mentions, in fact, I'm sure you'd remember that during the registration, voters registration exercise, John Dumelo released a statement that alleged that the police stood aloof while some of his agents were attacked. She mentions categorically that John Dumelo apologized for that statement.
At that meeting?
At that meeting.
I see.
And so, these are the things that popped up.
Very well. Well, John Dumelo himself is pretty accessible. We can get his thoughts on that as well, just to clarify things. But Manuel, thank you so much. Manuel Kranting there, my colleague who was on the ground for us.